Happy Monday, pushing limits. Happy Martin Luther King Day. A day that we remember and celebrate a man who did so much and risked everything. And boy, is it a busy news day, and we have a lot to get to, of course. Yes, it is Inauguration Day. America inaugurated and welcomed a 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser. We'll get to that. The lies, the mistruths, the shenanigans. Oh, yeah, we're going to cover it all today for you. And, you know, maybe God doesn't like me. I don't know, because on a day where the last thing I wanted to see was Donald Trump get back into office, I also have a head cold. Don't worry. I know a lot of you out there are very concerned about me. I appreciate that. I do not have the MAGA herpes, okay? If I did, I would have had to spend the night with Melania Trump. I do not have the MAGA herpes. Let me repeat. I also don't have COVID, but I do have a bad head cold. God said, not only am I going to give you orange turd on Inauguration Day, but I'm also going to give you a head cold. But I couldn't miss this day for the world. Come on, man. A day that we're celebrating Cheeto Jesus? Come on. So it is interesting that they booed Mike Pence when he showed up today. Big boos for the Clintons. You heard chants of lock her up. Meanwhile, governors, including Ron DeSantis, had to sit in the overflow room. They didn't get seats in the ceremony, but Jeff Bezos was allowed to bring his woman. No congressional spouses were allowed in the rotunda for the ceremony today, but apparently different rules for oligarchs. I'm just saying. The Proud Boy members were marching in Washington, D.C. today, so we will certainly get to that as well. Now, I want to start with some of the things he said in his inauguration speech that were ridiculous. Then we will get to the lies, many of which he told afterwards in the speech after to his supporters. And then we will talk about the promises that he has made, executive orders. We'll also talk about Joe Biden. I do have some criticism for Joe Biden today in regards to pardons. We will talk about that as well. But to start, I want you to keep in mind that good sources and reporters that are even on the right have been reporting that J.D. Vance and a few others within Donald Trump's inner circle told him not to mention specific things in his inauguration speech. It was all scripted. But listen to the moment where even Hillary Clinton was laughing when he talks about the Gulf of Mexico. Listen to this.
A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs.
Absolutely ridiculous. And you can see Hillary Clinton laughing there, rightfully so. Any normal human being that is not a Trump MAGA cultist is laughing at this imbecile. And it was just a matter of minutes before he talked about DEI hires and trans people. Have a listen to this.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, yeah, that's on the thoughts of everyone's minds, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, wanting to know what your replacement plan is for healthcare. Yeah, let's talk about men and women. What defines men and women? I'm sure Nancy Mace is very happy. I'm sure your base of bigots are very happy, but most of America, that's not on the tops of their minds, Mr. President. And then goes to the argument of free speech. Have a listen to this.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
Yeah, let's talk about law and order from the 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser. I really want to hear about law and order, the party who has put this guy on a pedestal, the lifelong criminal, Donald J. Trump. Okay, yeah, sure, let's do that. By the way, what the hell is he talking about when he talks about the government taking away your free speech? My free speech hasn't been taken away. Can you please explain to me, give me one example of how the government is censoring free speech? Don't talk about private businesses, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. Those are private businesses. The government is not taking away your free speech. That is a lie. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but when Donald Trump was supposed to put his hand on the Bible, when Melania, who looked like an Amish person today with her weird getup, there's a moment where he's getting sworn in, where Cheeto Jesus is getting sworn in, but he refuses to put his hand on the Bible. I'm wondering how all those evangelical Christians feel about that. I'm sure they'll stay silent. But here's the moment the guy who never read a passage in the Bible starts speaking about God.
Like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution. And we will not forget our God. Can't do that.
We can't forget our God. Well, to many of those cultists that are clapping, their God is the orange orangutan that's sitting there on the stage right there speaking gibberish. Now, after the inauguration speech, literally minutes later, he walks into the overflow room where many governors were, like I mentioned, Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott, and other people who kiss the ring, but I guess they just don't have the billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to be standing just a few feet away from Donald Trump. Don't you find that interesting? The elected officials and the governors, some of them weren't allowed in there in the rotunda, and those that weren't allowed to bring their wives. But if you're Jeff Bezos and you donate tons of money, or if you're Elon Musk, then you get to be up there. I do find that very interesting. But in this speech, which was not scripted, there were so many lies. It was your typical Donald Trump, the real Donald Trump. He was scripted, and even he mentioned some absurd, ridiculous things in that inauguration speech. But in the speech moments after, he spoke longer than his inauguration address, which speaks volumes, because those are the people he truly cares about, the people that support him. And Donald Trump continued the lie that the 2020 election was rigged, that his opponents cheated, and even in this last election, he said that they cheated in California. Obviously, that's a blatant lie, and there's no evidence to support that. As far as immigration goes, he continued the lie. He said that jails are being emptied all over the world, and they're sending those people to America. Again, completely unfounded, not true. He said he built 571 miles of the wall. That's also completely untrue. And then when it came to the January 6th committee, he claimed that they deleted all this evidence. Again, completely unfounded, not true. Speaking of January 6th, promises, it appears as though I was right, and he is going to pardon those who committed serious violent crimes on January 6th. At least that is the message that those in the incoming Trump administration are sending. That if you assaulted police officers and committed violent acts on January 6th, you are going to be pardoned. Also, the lie that he stated again today is that Nancy Pelosi rejected an offer of 10,000 troops from Donald Trump. Not only is that not true, and Nancy Pelosi denies it, but Donald Trump was the commander of the National Guard. He was the president of the United States. So it's a blatant lie that's not true. This was not of bringing the country together nonsense that Steve Bannon and others were saying he was going to bring to the table today. It was going to be the same Donald Trump days after being shot at in an attempted assassination. We were told at the Republican National Convention he's going to bring the country together. This is a new Donald Trump. No, it's not. It's the same Donald Trump, maybe even worse. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to hold his feet to the fire. Today is day one in Donald Trump's administration. It's day one. He signed executive orders. By the way, none of those executive orders can you find one executive order that addresses inflation or helps everyday hardworking Americans. Name me one, MAGA. I can't name one. It's a bunch of nonsense that won't help the country in any way, shape, or form. It'll help billionaires. It'll make bigots feel really good, but it's not going to help you put food on the table, and it's certainly not going to lower the price of eggs, which is why many of you idiots voted for this guy. So, I want to play for you some of the promises that Donald Trump has made. He said if he becomes president again, and we're going to hold his feet to the fire here. Here's promise number one.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history to get the criminals out. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail. We're going to kick them the hell out of our country as fast as possible.
Oh, so this is day one. How many people have been deported so far? I'm just asking the question. It's another promise. He wants to deport 20 million illegals in this country. Let's see. Let's give him one more day. Let's see if that pans out the way he wants it to pan out or what he claimed he wanted. Here he goes into the promises about drilling for oil, which we would definitely hold his feet to the fire here.
We will, right from day one, we're going to drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. Well, this is day one. Are they drilling? I'm just asking the question. That's all. That's all I'm doing. He wants to reverse climate procedures, and he wants to drill, baby, drill. All right. All right. This is the promise he made about trans care. Have a listen to this.
On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this?
Can you believe this? Yeah, can you believe this? Yeah, I can. I can believe that you're such a bigot and your base are such bigots that this is tops on your agenda. Now, this is day one. Last I checked, the war in Ukraine is still going on. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Is there some breaking news? Donald Trump said he could end this war within 24 hours.
I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. Quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order, and it will take me no longer than one day. I know exactly what to say to each of them. I got along very well with them.
Wait a second. Not only did he say it'd be over in one day, but he said before he even took office. Maybe we should check the breaking news. Let's check it and let's see if the war is over. My producer is telling me it's not over. He hasn't seen any breaking news to suggest otherwise. Okay. So this is day one. The war is not over. The war will not be over anytime soon. Not that I don't want it to be over, because a lot of innocent people are dying. But then again, these are the same people that want Russia to win. Just for the record, the war's not over. Here he goes now with the pardoning of all these January 6ers.
I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking
You can
first day.
issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it? 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
You know, by the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
So it appears as though, based on sources and what people are saying, that he's also going to pardon those who committed violent acts on January 6th. I've been saying this, and the MAGA idiots some of whom call into this show, have been claiming that, Brian, that's not true. Okay, well, let's see. I think this is one of the promises that he actually will fulfill. He's going to pardon people that committed violent acts, attacked police officers on January 6th. Despicable. And then Elon Musk spoke yesterday, who is probably more of a danger to this country, maybe even more of a danger than Donald Trump, in my personal opinion. But listen to what this jackass, and that's what he is, I don't care how much money he's made, Elon Musk had to say yesterday about Trump winning the presidency.
We're looking forward to making a lot of changes, and you know this victory is the start, really. What matters going forward is to actually make significant changes, cement those changes, and set the foundation for America to be strong for a century, for centuries, forever.
What does that actually mean? By the way, how awkward is this guy? He can't even talk. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. All it means is I'm going to enrich myself and my investors and all the people around me. Big tech billionaires are going to make trillions. I don't care about you, the American people, even though I fake it like I want to. I care just as much about you as I care about my trans daughter, who calls you a racist bigot, because that's what you are, Elon Musk. That's exactly what the Trump presidency will be the next 4 years. The Jeff Bezoses of the world getting preferential treatment, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, the Elon Musks of the world. That's exactly what we are going to see over the course of the next 4 years. Now, with that being said, I do have some criticism for Joe Biden today. I thought Joe Biden was a good president. I thought Joe Biden did a good job with our economy based on very difficult circumstances, thanks to what Donald Trump left him when we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. Joe Biden took over a terrible economy. Donald Trump is the beneficiary of what Joe Biden was able to accomplish, whether it's the CHIPS and Science Act, a bipartisan infrastructure bill, which, by the way, Donald Trump was unable to do. He promised he would do it. He was unable to do it. Bipartisan gun legislation, the most in decades. There's plenty of things Joe Biden and Kamala Harris could be proud of. And if you listen to right-wing radio, which is unbearable to listen to, by the way, it's unbearable. They'll make it as if Joe Biden's going to be one of the worst presidents in American history, but they can't spell the word fact and the actual accomplishments and where inflation is right now compared to what it was the first year in Joe Biden's administration, where the economy is right now, where the NASDAQ is right now. They won't give you actual facts on where the economy is, and all they do is lie. Just like Donald Trump. Right-wing conservative talk radio couldn't be worse to listen to than right now. And thank God the few right-wing conservative talk show hosts in Las Vegas literally have 5 listeners. But they'll make you think that Joe Biden didn't accomplish anything. And I could name you 20 accomplishments right down the list of things that Joe Biden did. With that being said, I believe Joe Biden made some mistakes. First of all, he shouldn't have stepped down 3 months before the elections. That hurt Democrats. It hurt Kamala Harris's chances. Now, if he stepped down earlier, would Harris have won? I don't know, but it certainly wouldn't have hurt. So he should have stepped down sooner, and I felt like that was selfish on his part. Joe Biden would not have defeated Donald Trump. At the time, Kamala Harris gave the Democrats the best chance to win. Joe Biden would not have defeated Donald Trump. But I'm thinking to myself, why are you giving pardons to Dr. Fauci? Why are you giving pardons to General Milley? Why are you giving pardons to these people? Clearly, General Milley didn't do anything wrong. If they want to go after General Milley, fine. If he didn't do anything wrong, he doesn't have anything to worry about. And I feel the same way about Dr. Fauci. Listen, I understand when it comes to Hunter Biden. But at the same time, if Hunter Biden had to go to jail for a couple months, that would not have bothered me either. Do your time, get out, and move on. I just feel like these pardons, and this is my personal opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of Democrats that are listening to the show now that are going to disagree with me, but I've never said anything on the air in fear of people that might disagree. I thought Joe Biden made a mistake by pardoning Dr. Fauci, who I don't believe committed any crimes, and by pardoning General Milley and others. If Trump's DOJ wants to go after them with made-up stuff, then they won't win in court. I thought that was a mistake that Joe Biden made. I truly, truly did. So there's a lot of things to talk about today, obviously. We're talking about the inauguration. We're talking about all the lies. The fact that if you're a billionaire, you got to sit there with your wife like a Jeff Bezos did, and yet all these other governors, some of them weren't even able to get in the rotunda. And if they were, they weren't allowed to bring their spouse. But if you're a billionaire, you were allowed to be there. Your thoughts on the inauguration today, your thoughts on the executive orders today, and of course, today is Martin Luther King Day. And when I think of Martin Luther King, I think of a man who is a hero, clearly, who paid the ultimate price for wanting equality for all. His I Have a Dream speech is probably the best speech of all time. And sadly, on this day today, we should be thinking about a true king, Martin Luther King Jr. Instead, these right-wing cultist turds in Washington, D.C. are idolizing their king, an orange Cheeto Jesus, lying 34-count convicted felon. So there's a lot to talk about today. And we'll open up the phone lines at 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. That number is 702-221-7283. Listen, there's a reason why they call this one of the most interactive shows around. Because this show is about you. It doesn't matter whether you are a Trump supporter or not, whether you're a liberal or a Republican. I want to know how you feel about this inauguration day. I want to know how you feel about the lies that Donald Trump spread today. I want to know how you feel about a 34-count convicted felon, adjudicated liable sexual abuser, sworn into office today, not putting his hand on the Bible, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. The man who sells the Bible for $60, made in China for $3. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to be back in 90 seconds, and we are going to be taking your calls. We've got some MAGA supporters that are waiting on hold. That's always entertaining, but I will give them their chance to speak, as I do for anybody. So we are going to take a quick break. We have Adolf, we have JD on hold, we have Al on hold, we have Vivian on hold, and we will be taking all of your calls. Sit tight. We'll be right back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercials, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at radioyou101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on Inauguration Day. Sadly, on a day where we should be celebrating a true king, Martin Luther King, many in the MAGA cult world out there are celebrating Cheeto Jesus. embarrassing himself once again. But listen, if you're a cultist and you're not very intelligent and you're ill-informed, you know, you're not going to be thinking about Martin. I think he mentioned Martin Luther King once today for like 5 seconds. What a great man. All right, we're going to get right to the calls, 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Adolf. Adolf is first up on PTL. Hello, Adolf.
Brian, welcome to the second greatest day of my life.
And why is it what was the first greatest day of your life, sir?
It was Trump's first inauguration.
Okay. So why are you so excited? Tell me.
I'm very excited. There's a lot of things going to be going on that he's going to be doing. And but Brian, I've called before, and what I'd like to do is I'm in Las Vegas, and I know you're there, and I'm having a party tonight in my room at the casino at the hotel, and I'd like to invite you to it.
What type of party?
Would you like to come to my party tonight?
Well, I don't really get along with Trump supporters these days, so I'll give a hard pass on that. But enlighten me. What is going to be happening at this party?
So it's great. It's our Nazi memorabilia night.
Are you being serious? You're selling Nazi memorabilia?
The history is absolutely amazing.
So
the helmets that are brought in, the clothes from the Jews, there's pictures. We all learn, and
all right,
you can buy different things. Hold on. Different people.
You're asking a Jewish person to show up to a party selling Nazi memorabilia, and you seriously think that that's something that I would consider? Let me ask you a question. Is that
I'm
why
not throwing out the gauntlet for you? I'm trying to be nice.
Well,
Biden was the one that wanted inclusivity.
That's
so
like
I'm trying to include.
That's like asking a black person to show up at a party where they're going to be selling nooses from the days of slavery. Completely idiotic, number one. Number two, the fact that you are probably a Nazi yourself, when he said stand back and stand by, how did that make you feel? Did that empower you?
Again, Biden was the one that let me be what I want to be, being inclusive with everything, and that's what I am, and I'm very proud of it. We're going to learn a lot about the Nazi Party tonight. We're going to talk with other people.
Well, that's where we agree. So you would agree with me that the Republican MAGA Party is the Nazi Party, then? You would agree?
And the history is incredible. How the information was brought up and how people got the different things for our memorabilia.
All right, I don't want to talk about your Nazi memorabilia because, quite frankly, sir, it's absolutely disgusting what you're saying. I want to know why you support Donald Trump. I want to know, is it because of his bigotry and hatred?
You want to come to my party tonight?
No, I don't want to go to your, probably the last party in the world I'd want to go to, but I'm sure Marjorie Taylor Greene and many of those in the MAGA Republican Party will probably be going there. Will you have any Proud Boy members at your party? Because they were marching in Washington, D.C.
They probably will be some. We're all kind of intertwined with each other, and we're enjoying it. And we're learning a lot.
Sir,
so
I want to know,
wanted to put that out for you.
When you would celebrate the killing of 7 million Jews, and you celebrate a 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser, I'm wondering how you look at yourself in the mirror. Do you have any daughters? Do you have any kids, sir?
I have kids, yes. I have a wife. I have kids.
So what would your kids...
I'm teaching them that the Holocaust was a good start.
Did you just say the Holocaust was a good start? So you think murdering a bunch of innocent people is a good thing? Is that what you just said?
I think it's going to be bringing back.
All right.
I think it's going to be bringing back what we need.
All right. So you're obviously a hateful person, and I'm not shocked that you are a supporter of Donald Trump. Are you in the Klan? I mean that as a serious question. Are you in the Ku Klux Klan? Are you a Klansman? Because you certainly sound like one.
There is no Klan.
What do you mean there is no Klan? David Duke has been the leader of the Klan for decades. What the hell are you talking about? There are people that wear white hoods, and you're probably one of them. You sound like a Klan member. You sound like an evil white supremacist insurrectionist that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. And you sound like your typical right-wing extremist Donald Trump supporter, someone who hates Jews. I would imagine you probably hate minorities too. What do you think about black people?
Well, I don't see any white people having their own day like today.
What are you talking about? Donald Trump had his inauguration day today. He's white or orange or whatever you want to call it.
There's a Martin Luther King Day, right?
Yeah.
He's a black Why isn't there anything for white people?
Because white people didn't have to use different water fountains. White people weren't owned by human beings. We had something called slavery. White people haven't gone through the atrocities that black people have had to go through in our history. Sure, are you not smart enough to understand that? Are you treated differently because you're white? I think you should be treated differently because you're a Nazi sympathizer. I think you should be treated differently because you're a bigot and you sound like a Klansman grand wizard. Do you really think that name me one white person in society that accomplished what Martin Luther King was able to accomplish? Name me one.
I just want to go back to what you said earlier.
Why don't you name me one? No, why can't you answer that question? Name me one person that has accomplished.
I wanted to thank Lincoln for changing the rules along the way. Can you imagine how much great this country would be right now?
Okay, Abraham Lincoln did some great things with ending slavery. I will certainly give you that. It's probably the only thing you've said in this conversation that I agree with. You don't think we should have Martin Luther King Day?
No, we should be having Abraham Lincoln Day with him not freeing the slaves. It would have been much better for us now.
Like, I want to ask you a serious question. Did your parents raise you to be a racist bigot? Like, did they raise you to use the N-word? Did they raise you to hate people?
No. Hey, don't bring my parents into this. They're great people. Don't bring my father.
Okay, they certainly sound like. Well, I just did.
My brothers and I were raised, and we were raised how we are, and don't bring them up.
Okay, well, I just did. It sounds like you were raised to be a racist bigot.
And guess what? My kid's being raised the exact same way. And
well, your kids.
Fantastic.
Well, you must be very proud of yourself. What do you tell your kids?
I'm very proud. Why would I not be proud of my family?
So your kids are going to be grand wizards as well. You must be very proud of that, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I hang up on you? Because quite frankly, you are just a typical alt-right MAGA bigot. That's exactly what you are. You are despicable. You are dangerous. And you sound like an extremely hateful and ignorant person. But is there anything else you'd like to add to embarrass yourself?
Heil, Brian.
Okay.
Died Jew.
Yeah, okay. Very funny. Have a nice day. That's exactly the type of person that will be supporting Donald Trump. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to JD. JD is next up on PTL. Hello, JD.
Hi, Brian. Regarding the pardon, the preemptive pardons you brought up, you didn't mention Liz Cheney or Adam Kissinger. And 20 minutes before President Biden left office, he pardoned his two brothers, their wives, his sister, her husband. Pardon me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Let me respond to that. First of all, no, you're right. I didn't list every single person that Joe Biden pardoned. What I did do is speak in general terms that I disagree with what Joe Biden did with these pardons, and I named a few. So with that being said, I have something called intellectual honesty. Let's test it out with you. Are you okay with Donald Trump pardoning those who committed violent acts on January 6th? Are you okay back in 2020 when he hold on, let me finish.
I'll answer the question. No.
Okay, good.
I'm not okay
so
with
if he
it.
does that, will you call that out as well?
I'm not finished with the pardon.
Okay, well,
he also pardoned the J6 committee members and their staffers.
As I said again, JD, as I say again, I am not okay with what Joe Biden did. I've established that. I'm now asking you, you will call out Donald Trump if he pardons any January 6th.
Exactly.
Okay, let me ask you another. Were you calling into conservative radio shows when Donald Trump pardoned murderers, those who murdered innocent civilians in Iraq? You can look it up if you don't believe me. Are you okay with Donald Trump pardoning murderers? And did you call in complaining about it?
No, I don't, and I apologize. I'm trying to search my memory to see if I remember that.
Okay.
But since you bring up murderers, Biden has also pardoned 2,500 criminals.
Okay,
and
sure.
About 35 murderers in that group.
I find it interesting that you have exact numbers when it comes to Joe Biden pardons, but all of a sudden you don't.
Going back
hold
years.
on.
Years.
All of a sudden you don't recollect the pardons of Donald Trump.
Let
me be very clear. I don't think pardons should be allowed. I don't think any president should be able to pardon anybody. I think if you break the law, you should be held to the highest extent of the laws. I don't agree with any of the...
Go back to Iraq. Refresh my memory. Try to tell me who and what.
Okay. why should I have to go on the air and try to refresh your memory? I just
Oh,
told
I'm
you
sorry,
what he
never
did.
mind. I asked you what I thought was a
What
fair
Donald
question.
Trump did.
All right, never mind.
Okay,
Forget I
no,
asked
I'll
it.
educate you. I'll educate you because when it comes to Joe Biden, you know every single person on that list. But when it comes to your Lord and Savior, Cheeto Jesus, all of a sudden you have Alzheimer's. So I'll explain it to you. There were American soldiers that were charged with war crimes and convicted of war crimes, murder. They murdered.
Are they the ones
Hold
that
on.
shot somebody
Let
from
me-
a helicopter?
Let
Wait
me
a minute.
finish.
Wait a minute.
Let me
are
finish.
they someone who shot someone from a helicopter?
You're going to interrupt me now? They were convicted of murder. They murdered innocent Iraqi civilians. Donald Trump decided to pardon them. It shouldn't matter whether they're in a helicopter or in outer space. When you kill innocent people and they are charged and convicted of it, they should not be pardoned. So now that I have recollected your memory, for lack of a better term, I am able to go on the air and in a general term say I disagree with what Joe Biden did today because I don't believe there's any evidence that Dr. Fauci committed any crimes. I don't think there's any evidence to General Milley committed any crimes, and I disagree with what Joe Biden did. But you're the first.
Do you wanna know,
hold on.
Do you want to know?
But why is it that you're the first person to call into a show to complain about Joe Biden and list all the people that he pardoned? But yet, when it comes to Donald Trump, that was many years ago, and I don't recollect. It's called having intellectual honesty.
It's obviously fresh on my mind. They just announced it an hour ago.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Donald Trump's pardons, hours and days after it happened, did you call into any right-wing conservative talk show when it was, quote, fresh on your mind? Did you call in and criticize Donald Trump for those pardons? Yes or no?
I already answered the question.
So if the answer is no, then don't make an excuse that it's fresh on my mind. No, JD, you're biased. You know what I did when it was fresh on my mind today? I did something that you mega morons are incapable of doing. I went on the air, and even though I voted for Joe Biden, I criticized him. And I said, I believe, in my opinion, he was wrong for what he did today. But you're not capable of doing that. You have probably never called into a conservative radio show once when Donald Trump was president and criticized him for anything. So it's fresh on my mind, JD, but somehow you have Alzheimer's and you're in the bunker when somebody does something like pardon murderers. You need to have your brain, you need recollection for that. So JD, let this be a lesson to you, okay? You're still on the line, but let this be a lesson to you. When it's fresh on your mind, show that you're intellectually honest, which I'm not sure you are, and you've proven that in this phone call, because you don't remember the people that Donald Trump pardoned, but you remember every person, so much so, since it's, quote, fresh on your mind, you named all of them, even though I've criticized him for that. So, JD, when Donald Trump doesn't end the war in the Ukraine in 24 hours, because it's still going to be going on tomorrow, when he doesn't deport 20 million illegals, which he promised that he would, and when he pardons January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom committed violent crimes, when it's fresh on your mind, are you going to call into shows and criticize Donald Trump? Yes or no?
I already did it with you once.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I had to ask you. No, you didn't. I had to ask you.
You asked me. I answered the question.
You
I
don't.
did it in the past in a prior call. Can I speak?
I'm sorry, JD. My memory has lost me. I'm sorry. I just forgot who you are. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. JD, I'm sorry. You're not fresh on my mind. Have a nice day and take a hike, you MAGA buffoon. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Al. Al is next on PTL. What's up, Al?
Hey, Brian, thank you for taking my phone call. I do want to compliment you on one thing about your show. You listen to the other side. I went to a leadership meeting, and some idiots, they don't even want to listen to other people, and that's one of the fundamental things of leadership. So hopefully your show does, continues to do okay. So I do have some criticism. First of all, I'm not a MAGA. I'm an Eisenhower Republican. And to one of your idiot callers who called me a Reagan moms and apple pie, I'm an Eisenhower moms and apple pie. And I am concerned, and I'm hoping that you get a pastor on here, that why didn't Trump put his hands on the Bible? That really bothers me.
Okay, so here's why. I have I don't think you need a pastor. The guy hasn't recited one simple sentence from the Bible because he has never read the Bible. He lied and he said that it was his favorite book to read. He hasn't recited one verse in the Bible, but yet, Al, you voted for a guy who has Bibles made in China for $3 and sells them to idiots like JD and the last caller for $60. This is the guy that you voted for.
You voted for a guy who you just criticized that pardoned somebody. So you can't own everything. No. That's what you did.
We are talking about
hypocrite.
Let me be very clear. First of all, a hypocrite would go on the air and not criticize someone for doing something that they disagree with. I have to bring up things to you. You never criticize Donald Trump for hardly anything. That's what a hypocrite does.
I just criticize him right now. What more do you want?
I'll tell you what I want. I'm glad that you criticized him for not putting his hand on the Bible today. What I'd like to see from you, Al, is criticize him for his false promises, ending the Ukraine war in 24 hours, lying about the 2020 election, which, by the way, he did on Inauguration Day today, lying about immigration, about how people all over the world in their jails are sending people to the United States of America, lying about the border wall, which he did today, lying about the January 6th committee deleting evidence, which they didn't do. Today, he lied about Nancy Pelosi, said that she rejected an offer of 10,000 troops. There's no evidence of that, and he was the commander of the National Guard because he was the president of the United States. I'd like to hear you call him out for his 34 felony counts that he was convicted of. I'd like to hear you call him out for the 25 women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife in court documents. I'd like to hear you call him out for the liable sexual abuse. I'd like to hear you call him out for attacking POWs, attacking Gold Star families, attacking women on looks. I'd like to hear you call him out for allowing the Elon Musks of the world and billionaires and trillionaires right behind him today as he was inaugurated but not allowing governors and their spouses to be in there because he claimed there wasn't enough room. I would like to hear you criticize him for not wanting the flag to be at half staff, something that we've done for 152 years because of Jimmy Carter's death. I'd like to hear you criticize him a little bit more than, I didn't like the fact that he didn't put his hand on the Bible. Are you willing to do that now, Al?
No, because most of those things that I don't agree that he should be criticized about.
So you don't think?
I think he's a good leader.
You think he's a good leader?
He makes some mistakes like everybody else.
So you don't think he should be criticized?
He's going to do a hell of a lot better.
All right, yeah,
than,
I'm sure. Okay,
Trump.
So hold on, Al. Let's back up.
Closing the border.
That's what's called criticism. First of all, he hasn't closed the border. The border's still open. He could have done that right now. He didn't do it. That's number one. Number two. You don't think he should be criticized for lying about the 2020 election. You don't think he should be criticized for going after POWs and women on looks. You don't think he should be criticized for any of the lies about January 6th. You don't think he should be criticized for pardoning insurrectionists, some of whom are violent criminals. You don't think he should be criticized for the way he handled COVID. You think all that's unfair, but he didn't put his hand on the Bible, so I'll criticize him for that. You sound ridiculous, Al. You sound ridiculous.
I don't think I sound ridiculous. Why don't you ask other people, try to get them to see if they also feel that he should be criticized for not putting his hand on the Bible.
A lot of people like you fail to criticize Donald Trump for things that are far worse than putting his hand on a Bible. Do I think that's one of the worst things that Donald Trump has ever done? Absolutely not. I think it's a symbolism of him being a moron.
It was the worst thing that he did. I just said I criticized him for it.
What do you think is the worst thing Donald Trump has ever done?
The worst thing that he's ever done. That's a good question. He's done a lot of bad things, but the worst thing that he's ever done, probably not put his hand on the Bible. That's really, I think that's the worst thing I think he's ever done.
Okay, so let me get this right. You just said he's done worse things. Now you just said
I just said he's done a lot of bad things, but I don't think he's done any. I mean,
gotcha. So sexual abuse.
What I meant to say is I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
You can't. Okay, well let me
not putting his hand on the Bible.
Let me throw you this out to you. Do you think not putting your hand on a Bible is worse than sexually abusing women?
I don't know. I don't think I'm not. He has. I don't think I have to look at the case, but I really do believe he was rigged. I don't think he raped her.
Gotcha.
Okay, he didn't get convicted of rape.
He's found liable for sexual abuse. The 25 women.
Yeah, I
the
think
25.
Al,
the 25 women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife in court documents. Are all those women lying, and you think not putting your hand on a Bible is worse than that? It's a possibility.
What
Okay.
about all?
Thank you.
What about the girl that lied? Hold on a second. Let me finish. What about the girl that lied about those kids in the college, those fraternity kids who raped her and then admitted that she was lying?
The Duke lacrosse case has absolutely nothing to do with the questions that I've asked you. And
it has everything to do
no,
with
it doesn't.
It shows that our court system's not perfect.
No. See, first of all, those kids were never convicted. So our court system was correct there. They were never convicted. Okay. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. And that was one case. That is deflection, and that is whataboutism. Donald Trump has attacked POWs. I don't respect John McCain because he was captured. Donald Trump has attacked women on looks. He attacked Ted Cruz's wife. Okay. Donald Trump is the guy.
Well, wait a minute. You attacked Nancy Mason on looks.
Yeah.
You think that she's a transgender or
never,
something.
Never
What
attacked
about
her.
that?
Never attacked her on looks. I never
Yes,
called.
you did.
Nope.
I called
Hold
her
on.
out.
Let's
I
go
called-
back. Let's
you
go
were
back.
attacking Nancy Mace.
Al, I need you to pay attention. I never said Nancy Mace was ugly. I questioned that she could be a man because I don't know for sure, neither do you. I said I believe Nancy Mace could be a man. I never said she was ugly. I never attacked her on looks the way that Donald Trump talks about women. And the reason why I said Nancy Mace could be a man is very simple. And obviously you're not smart enough to understand. Nancy Mace is obsessed with trans women going into women's bathrooms. So if that's the case, I think we should check Nancy Mace and what's in her pants to prove that she is a woman. That is different than attacking a woman based on looks. Now, I will attack Donald Trump based on looks. He wakes up every day and puts on his 8 layers of orange makeup and his girdle. The morbidly obese man who never takes his shirt off, by the way, I find that very interesting, who has his fake teeth and his 4 hair transplants, is ugly on the inside and out. I will attack Donald Trump. I never said Nancy Mace was ugly. I never attacked her on looks. I said she might be a man. There are trans men and trans women that are good-looking people, you know? Very simple, Al. You don't understand that, but I do find it interesting that of all the things that Donald Trump has done in his life, of all the things that Donald Trump has done and said, the despicable behavior, the liable sexual abuse, the 34-count felonies that he was convicted of, you think the worst thing that Donald Trump did was not put his hand on a Bible today. You're totally okay with him selling Bibles. You're totally okay with that. You're totally okay with him charging people hundreds of thousands of dollars to pray with him. But, oh, dear God, he didn't put his hand on the Bible. I think that speaks volumes. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's go to Chrissy. Chrissy is next up on PTL. What's up, Chrissy?
Hey, Brian. Oh, boy, what a day, huh? I'm terrible. I just wanted to call in and say I agree and disagree with you about the pardons. I get it. It makes the people look guilty. On the other hand, I mean, the stuff that they're can't we trust the other side? We can't trust them. And the lies they create to possibly try to, persecute. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, I'll tell you how I feel.
Torn.
I'll tell you how I feel about it. I think we're in a lot of trouble. I think Elon
100%.
I think Elon Musk is a very dangerous man. He's got a lot of billionaires in his corner that don't care about people like you and me. They don't care about the wildfire victims in California. They only care about themselves and their investors. So we're in a lot of trouble. And listen, Donald Trump said that he was going to end the war in Ukraine even before he got into office. It's funny. The war in Ukraine is still going on now. And I hope the war is over tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I have a wager with a MAGA moron, the son of a billionaire. I won't say his name because he believed that the war would be over by February 1st. And I said, now I hope I lose the bet because I want the war to be over, right? I hope I lose the bet, but I'm not going to because sadly the war is going to continue. Donald Trump said he could pick up the phone. I do find it interesting though. He campaigns and talks about inflation. And he campaigns and talks about the economy. Not one thing he said today and not one of his executive orders addresses that. Not one.
No, and there won't be. There won't be because it was never about that. It was all about his cronies and his billionaire friends. That's it. You know, Brian, really quick, I have 2 daughters, 27 and 23, and I'm extremely worried about them. I live in the same where you live. I live in Las Vegas. So, they're safe right now, but I'm not convinced that there's not going to be a ban. I'm not convinced that, and they're sending women back out hundreds of years. I think they want us barefoot and pregnant.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I do know.
I just,
I understand. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm always going to be honest with you. And I'm not gaslighting. These MAGA Republicans want abortion to be illegal everywhere because of Donald
Right.
Trump and because of the Supreme Court justices that he helped put in place. In almost half the states in this country, abortion is illegal. In some of those states, no exceptions for rape or incest. Geography should have no bearing over a woman's body. These are how dangerous these MAGA Republicans are. They want to ban abortion. They want to ban abortion nationwide. They want to go after the LGBTQ community. They want to go after the trans community. And these idiots, and that's what I'm going to call them. I'm done being nice. These idiots that support Donald Trump, the cultists out there, they don't understand a lot of things. But Donald Trump is not out for their best interests.
no, and one last thing just to make a joke. He didn't put his hand on the Bible because we all know what happened to him if he did. That's it.
You know what? He might have burst up into flames. You might be right on that one.
That's what I'm talking about.
That very well
No.
that very well might be true, and he'd be burning up right next to Rush Limbaugh. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Nathan. Nathan is next up on PTL. Nathan, are you there?
Yeah,
Yeah, Nathan, go right ahead.
yeah. This is my first time talking and catching your show, and I kind of like it. I'm been looking for this type of talk show with our people, you know, with the right call it left. And I'm here to say, man, this is a sad day for America.
It is.
You know.
It is. And it's a day,
You know.
and Nathan, it's a day where we should be talking about Martin Luther King and what he accomplished in his life, paying the ultimate price, a true king, the civil rights leader, a man, because if not for Martin Luther King Jr., who knows where we would be right now as a country. And I feel like we're going backwards. And Donald Trump mentioned Martin Luther King today, and then he talks about deporting 20 million illegals. What do you think Martin Luther King would say about that? I'm going to tell you something. Martin Luther King would be against just about every policy that Donald Trump wants to implement. Just about every policy.
True that. True that.
Yeah. Well, Nathan, I'm glad you I'm glad you found the show, my friend.
One thing I don't want to put an input on. I was scrolling through my phone and come to find out this dude, the orange guy.
Yeah.
He said that these Helena victims in Western North Carolina
right
doesn't deserve any help from the government.
Well, you're right. And talking about the California wildfires, they want to put stipulations on aid during a natural disaster. But yet, in the hurricanes in Florida, when Democrats have the power, Joe Biden 100% all in. Do you remember Barack Obama, the disasters, and remember when Chris Christie shook Barack Obama's hand? Why is it that Democrats don't want to put stipulations on aid that can help people? But yet, when there is a disaster, Donald Trump wants to hold Democrats hostage. I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump cares more about owning the libs, and these mega moron, disgraceful idiots care more about owning the libs and having Gavin Newsom kiss the ring than actually helping people that are homeless and some that have lost their lives and helping their families, because they are despicable. Thank you for finding the show, Nathan. I appreciate you. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian is next up on PTL. What's up, Vivian?
Hi, Brian. I just wanted to let you know that I had a pleasant morning. I had a virtual brunch with Don Lemon. It was awesome. His whole spiel was
I hope
great.
you mentioned my name.
I didn't speak to him. I just wrote my little notes in the comments. But he had gave a little thing about Al Sharpton, and his speech was awesome.
Yeah.
And he has a plan of action, which I'm definitely pledged to. So I'm a little bit more hopeful than what I was before.
Well, I hate to ruin your parade. And by the way,
don't say it, please.
I'm glad, Vivian, that you've had a good morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not going to be content until Democrats toughen up. Because one of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost and this orange orangutan is now back in office is because Democrats played nice. Okay. It doesn't work anymore. And that's why I have Jasmine Crockett, who's going to be joining us on this show Wednesday. And I have Malik Abdul, who's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. He is a MAGA Republican who happens to be an African-American, and he is a staunch Trump supporter. He's a CNN contributor, and he knows who I am, and he's admitted, he's going to be coming on the show tomorrow. So it's going to be a good debate with him tomorrow. We need more Jasmine Crockett's in office. We need more AOC's in office. We need more Dan Golden's in office. We need more fighters in office. Moskowitz is another one. Okay. The majority of Adam Schiff, I'm sick of him. Okay. I am not going to sit here and play nice. And I am not going to sit here and say all these Democrats are doing a great job. Guess what? They're not. Booker, who questioned, I'm forgetting her name now, Pam Bondi. It was a joke. It was like it was flirtatious. These Democrats need to toughen up. These Democrats need to hold Donald Trump's feet to the fire. And quite frankly, these Democrats need to show the same body language that Melania Trump showed today. I'm sorry. She didn't want to be anywhere near him. Did you see that air kiss that they had? I mean, it's a joke. I mean, there are Democrats that seem to cozy up more to Donald Trump than Melania Trump. This stuff needs to stop. Okay. George W. Bush is showing more restraint to Donald Trump than some of the Democrats are. That is unacceptable. And I've had it. It is time to play hardball. And every single day on this show, I'm going to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm also going to call out Democrats that are too nice, because I have had it, Vivian. But I am glad you've had a good morning. And I'm glad you're in good spirits. And I appreciate that. By the way, what was up with Melania Trump's getup? She looked like she was from, like, all due respect to Amish people, looked like she was in some sort of like Amish community or at like a funeral. It was weird. Maybe it's the funeral of their marriage. I don't know. But hey, she's not going to be in the White House because she needs to take care of her son, Barron, who's in college. That makes complete sense. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. What's up, Paul?
Hey, man. Yeah, it's a sad day. I didn't listen to any news. You're the only news I'm watching today, honestly.
Yeah.
This is for people like Al, and I say this as a person of faith myself. So these evangelicals, Brian, just so you understand the mental illness in the indoctrination. God didn't save the 7 million Jews. God didn't save George Floyd. God didn't save Ahmaud Arbery. He didn't stop the school shooting in Sandy Hook or Uvalde or Parkland or Las Vegas. He didn't protect the officers on January 6th. He didn't protect Martin Luther King. No, Brian, Jesus came down and said, I'm going to save the adjudicated rapist, convicted felon who can't even stay faithful to any of his wives. This is what the evangelical white Christian Mike Johnson nationalist movement is. It is absolutely disgusting.
You are so correct, and I'm glad you brought that up, because in response to what Paul is saying, in the inauguration speech today, Donald Trump started talking about God, and he started talking about how God saved him. So apparently God, as Paul rightfully mentioned, God decided, not to save all those innocent children, in the Sandy Hook shooting and the Uvalde shooting, all these innocent people that died in New Orleans, for example. God decided not to spare that man who died in Pennsylvania at Donald Trump's speech there. Donald Trump, according to Donald Trump and the evangelical right, well, they're not sparing children, but they're sparing Cheeto Jesus, a 34-count felon, adjudicated rapist. It's ridiculous, Paul.
That's who God saves.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But here's the thing. These cultists believe it, Paul. They believe it.
I know. Hey, one last thing. I don't know if I sent it to you. There is a video of Elon Musk doing what appears to be the Nazi salute at the speech. Did you see that?
I'll be honest with you. I did not see that, but it wouldn't surprise me because there are good people on both sides.
I sent it over to you. You take a look at it and let me know if that's what you think it is.
Okay, well, I'm watching.
Wow.
Like okay. I just watched the video.
See it?
And that is absolutely a Nazi salute. He puts his hand over his shoulder and his chest and then does a Nazi salute. That's exactly what that is. He's so stupid, he probably doesn't even know what that. I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know. But you know what? They'll make
That's America, Brian.
Here's what they will do.
America.
But here's what they will do, Paul. They will make excuses for Elon Musk, just like they made excuses for Kyle Rittenhouse when he used the white supremacist sign with some Proud Boy members. Oh, no, that's not what he meant. He just meant everything was okay. Oh, that's not what Elon Musk meant. That's what these people do. And make no mistake about it. Elon Musk is speaking to the first caller who called into this show today, who calls himself Adolf. I doubt that's his real name, and is selling Nazi memorabilia. I mean, claims he is.
Okay, let me say, can I just say one last thing about him, then I'll let you go?
Yes.
Even if Adolf is joking, the fact is that he even has, as a human being, to even pretend to act like that's funny, says everything you need to know about whoever that mysterious person is. That is absolutely disgusting. And this country is sleepwalking into fascism. Don't kid yourself. We are heading to the Fourth Reich.
Oh, you're right. And you know what?
We're sleepwalking into it.
Paul, today's a perfect example of that. When you look at the inaugural speech and you look at the people that were allowed in there, up on stage, a bunch of billionaires. Jeff Bezos was allowed to bring his wife. If you are even a staunch Donald Trump supporter or staunch Republican, you know, Vivek Ramaswamy wasn't allowed to bring his wife. There were others up there that were Mark Zuckerberg. You know, you have a bunch of billionaires up there that if you kiss the ring and you, like an Elon Musk, you get put in that spot. That is an oligarchy. That's exactly what he is running right now. It's an oligarchy.
Yep.
It's sick. Paul, I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. Good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Paul. Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good.
First and foremost, Adolf, please come to my neighborhood and start running your mouth like that, because I have a few friends of mine that would definitely like to rearrange your head. That's my first problem I have. I know you don't like violence, but that guy was way out of line to talk to any person, especially a person that's Jewish like you. I don't condone any of that stuff. But the reason for my call is this. I agree with you. Democrats need to up and up. Today should be, it is a day of mourning because I do feel like we have lost all of our rights. But you know what? I'm going to quote Dr. Luther King quote that I saw today, and it does make sense. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And the Democratic Party needs to think about that and get tough.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be able to. I'm not sure they've learned from their mistakes, because if they have, in my personal opinion, they should not have showed up at this inauguration today. Barack Obama should not have been there, in my personal opinion. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton should not have been there. I disagree with the Democrats showing up. They need to start playing hardball, and I think today would have been a perfect start. Okay, Donald Trump and Melania don't want to show up in 2020. We're going to play your game now, and now we're not going to show up, and we're going to see how you feel about that. It is time to play hardball with the orange orangutan and these MAGA cultists, because quite frankly, I've had it. I've had it.
Also, too, can I enlighten it a little bit?
Yeah.
Melania's hat, if you look at the Pizza Hut symbol, they're identical. So I think she might have gotten it from Pizza Hut. And also, too, I know you're an avid hockey player, but I've got to say it, go Blue Jackets.
All right, there you go. Blue Jackets. I like it. Thanks for the call, my friend. 702-221-7283. By the way, that did look like a Pizza Hut arrangement there with the hat and everything. But I don't know. Could I make a comparison between Melania Trump and pizza? I don't know. Can I do that? I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't. Let me tell you something. I'd rather pay for a $10 pizza than Melania Trump. I'll leave it at that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Virgil. Virgil's next. Hello, Virgil.
Yeah, hi. How's it going? Sorry if there's some echo. How's it going? Just wanted to shoot the stuff with you.
Okay.
Good Lord. I just wanted to recollect what just happened today with Trump and all that. I'm not a maggot. Just a level-headed person.
Okay.
Anyways, how are you doing? I lost my train of thought with all the other maggot people that were talking. I can't think right now. Anyways, how are you doing?
I've been better. I woke up today watching an orange orangutan get put back into the White House. A little bit under the weather today. I don't have MAGA herpes, so don't worry about that. I haven't spent any time with Melania Trump, so everything's okay. But I'm not in the best of spirits. I'll be honest with you. I'm not. I didn't wake up today with a smile on my face. We have an orange orangutan who is a big danger to this country, who almost half the country voted for, or at least half the people who voted, almost. And I'm just mesmerized that there are so many stupid people in this country. I'm mesmerized that there are so many idiots in this country that wanted to put this guy in office, regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't even care. Regardless of what your thoughts are on Kamala Harris, I don't even care. I'm just mesmerized that there are so many stupid people, particularly middle-aged white people, that are so dumb and uneducated that they think Donald Trump cares about them. And all these morons who paid for plane tickets to show up and they thought they'd be able to see the inauguration in person, and now they want their money back. You got swindled by the swindler. I mean, they deserve it.
Yeah, it's very disheartening. Like, if you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel Live and they're on like on the Hollywood Boulevard, whatever, interviewing people, that's like it shows like the intelligence of people. Like, they don't really know much. It's very disappointing. What the hell?
I am convinced that the average MAGA supporter has an IQ of about 25. Now, that might be a little bit generous, but I am convinced that the average MAGA, I'm not saying everybody, the average MAGA supporter, excuse me, is uneducated, ill-informed, watches Newsmax all day. Now, if some of those people are veterans, I respect your service. I still think you're an idiot. I don't care what you do or what you've done in your life. What I'm specifically talking about is your voting record. In my personal opinion, if at this time you think Donald Trump is good for America, then you are an imbecile and complicit, and some of you are extremely ignorant and ill-informed. So go ahead and watch your Newsmax. Go ahead and watch your Fox Noise, and go ahead and continue to be brainwashed. But in 4 years, when your 401k goes down the toilet, when you have less money in the bank, and when all of you out there are saying, who do I blame for this? It's going to be your fault because you voted for the orange orangutan 34-count felon who only cares about himself. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Barbara. Barbara is next up on PTL. What's up, Barbara?
Hi, Brian. I've been listening since you were cussing out that more. that first guy there, but yeah, I agree about the pardons and stuff. But don't you think that when this fool gets in the office, he's gonna be pardoning a bunch of people, and then all the people that did get pardoned, like remember they were naming off. I didn't even want to watch TV.
Oh, so
today.
listen,
It just makes me
Barbara.
sick.
Barbara, make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump pardons these January 6th insurrectionists, that'll be worse than any pardon of Joe Biden. I'm with you.
Exactly.
I'm with you. But all I'm simply saying is when Joe Biden pardons Dr. Fauci and some of these others, I think it's wrong. If they want to go after Dr. Fauci, let them go after Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, but didn't they were threatening Dr. Fauci and Liz Cheney.
So go ahead and go after them if they didn't break the
people like that. Yeah, but people like that don't have money to spend for lawyers, and you know what I mean?
I would respectfully disagree with you. I'm pretty sure Dr. Fauci and Liz Cheney would be able to get representation, but here's the deal. Donald Trump.
I know, but this is.
But here's the deal. I understand.
He is.
So, Barbara, I understand what you're saying, but hear me out on this. Donald Trump is the guy who said he was going to go after Hillary Clinton, lock her up and put her in jail and hire a special prosecutor. They're all talking no game. They're not going to go after Dr. Fauci. They said they were going to find the Biden crime family, right? They were going to go after Joe Biden. They never went after, if there's nothing there, then they don't have any.
Kash Patel and his threat. I'll find a way. Just makes me sick that these kind of people are going to be in our White House.
It makes me it makes me sick as well.
Stepping in her makes me just vomit. My son said something to me a little bit ago that kind of made me think. He said, "Mom, you know what? You hate these people so much, but you know what? You're going to feel sorry for them. They're burning in the fires of hell." And I was like, "Oh, that's true," but.
That doesn't really help us right now.
There was another pardon that came out. Yeah, there's another pardon that came out today too, and that kind of made me happy a little bit. Was Leonard Peltier? He served 50 years for allegedly killing 2 FBI agents.
Yeah.
Took the rap for it, and somebody else got to walk free while he sat 50 years in jail. And, Donald Trump was in office before Joe Biden. He never did that. And that's, that what kind of makes me happy today.
I hear you. Let me be very clear on this. There are no comparisons between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. While I might disagree with the pardons of Joe Biden, Donald Trump's pardons, even to this point, 20 times worse. I am not defending Donald Trump. I think there's criticism to go around when it comes to Joe Biden. Excuse me. Joe Biden should have stepped down much earlier. And I think the Democrats would have had a better shot. So here's what we're going to do. One long segment coming back at you. We're going to take more of your phone calls. We're going to be covering all the breaking news. I would ask you all, please check out my website, which is fairly new, by the way, pushingthelimits.live. If you support what I do, and I feel like I'm one of the few daily shows out there that you can find that will hold Donald Trump's feet to the fire, and I'm not going to play nice. There are a lot of YouTube shows out there and maybe other shows out there, people that I have respect for that I think do a good job, but they're too nice. We need to hold Democrats accountable and stop playing nice. We need younger people in office, like the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, who will be on this show Wednesday, to call out Donald Trump to his face. The Republicans, so many of them that I disagree with, the Marjorie Taylor Greens that I think are despicable, but they are willing to go face-to-face with Joe Biden. Even though I disagree with her behavior and what she does, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not afraid to go fisticuffs, for, lack of a better term. Now, she's a complete fool. We need more Democrats with that fight. Playing nice is why we got in this situation. We got to stop playing nice. And if that means, at times, stooping to their level, doesn't mean you have to be bigoted in nature, doesn't mean you have to say bigoted things. We don't want you to do that. We want you to call out these MAGA Republicans for who they are. So many of them cultists, hypocrites, religious zealots, Bible thumpers. They don't trust women and what to do with their own bodies. They have no health care plan. They're not lawmakers. They're noisemakers. So check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. That's why I bring all that up. I'm not changing what I'm doing here. If you go to my website, pushingthelimits.live, we sell merchandise on there. This is an independently owned radio show. So your contributions really help us. Helps us keep the lights on here. Pushingthelimits.live. We sell merchandise up there, and you can make donations. There's a donation button right there on the front page. Also, the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show is Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. With their Pass the Puck contest, you could earn up to $500 in free slot play during any Vegas Golden Knights hockey game. Please check them out at Flamingo and Jones, Jackson's Bar and Grill. Your phone call is next, 702-221-7283. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and food. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on Inauguration Day Monday. Also, of course, Martin Luther King Day, which should be more important, no matter who is inaugurated. Programming note for you, we got some great guests lined up for you this week. So, a guy by the name of Malik Abdul, he was at the inauguration today. African-American, huge Donald Trump supporter, also a CNN contributor. We're going to get into it tomorrow. A good debate. He's willing to do so. So he's going to be joining us to start the show tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that. And of course, someone that I've been wanting to interview for a very long time. I admire her very much. Her fire. We need more Democrats like her. I think she's great. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is going to be joining us on the show live Wednesday. So really looking forward to that. Now, I don't have this confirmed yet, but I have reached out to some of Pam Bondi's people, and they are trying to see if she could give me some time on the show later this week. Can't confirm it, because Nancy Mace last week, her people said that they would try to make some time, and that's why I announced it. Hey, we're working on trying to get Nancy Mace on, and all of a sudden, since I've announced Jasmine Crockett's going to be on the show, crickets. Because a lot of these people are cowards, but we're working on trying to get Pam Bondi on the show, and we will see what we can do. I always reach out to these people. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. We've been talking about, of course, what took place in the inauguration today, more of Donald Trump's lies, his promises. Day one, I can end the war within 24 hours. All right, well, we'll keep a tab on that, on the war in the Ukraine. None of these executive orders that he has put into place, none, address inflation or helping middle-class Americans. Literally none. I think it's also important that we note that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Philip. Philip is next up on PTL. What's up, Philip?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good.
Listen to you every day, man.
Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that.
I just had a couple things. You were talking to a guy earlier that was saying, why don't we have something like Martin Luther King?
Right.
I live in St. Louis, and we got these outskirts with all these rural communities. And I have not a close friend, but a friend that lives out there, and he posted on Facebook one day. He's like, why is it, they get a black, what do you call it? Black theater at Red Box when the Red Boxes were here.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that's an actor, and we were all talking one day, and he said that. And my friend said, because all the movies are white. So it's like, I don't get why people don't understand that it's not like there's a million black holidays. The other thing I was going to say is I'm another one that I'm cool with the parties. I do not want to watch them go back and forth attacking these people. It's like, why don't you go work on getting the food prices lower?
Yeah.
And last but least, I saw a sign today that I thought was pretty cool that said MAGA stood for morons or governing again. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, I hear you, my friend. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. So to your first point, the same people out there that are against Martin Luther King Day are the exact same people that are against Gay Pride Month. What do I mean by that? Well, they're bigots. Chances are if you're anti-gay, you're probably anti-black. Chances are if you're a MAGA cultist, you probably don't like black people. You probably don't like homosexuality. They don't want Gay Pride Month. They don't want Martin Luther King Day. Some of them are so ignorant, they don't understand history. And they don't understand what minorities have gone through, our history in this country. And they don't understand the attacks on the gay community. They only look at life through their own lens, and they're not capable of showing empathy and understanding for others. That's exactly who Donald Trump is, and that's who many of his supporters are. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Melinda. Melinda is next up on PTL. What's up, Melinda?
Hi, Brian. I'm very fortunate to speak with you. This is the third time, so I'm very happy about that.
Thank you.
I was just going to say that I deliberately did not watch any coverage of the inauguration. But, setting aside Martin Luther King Day, which should, like you said, should be more important. I think today is going to mark a very dark day in history. And you also mentioned earlier the stupidity that is among his supporters is just mind-blowing. So that, and then one other thing I wanted to say is I remember a time where a president who's been married multiple times, who has cheated multiple times, would have never been elected president. They wanted to include, quote, morals, unquote. They wanted sort of a clean-cut look. And so everything that Donald Trump is opposite of all that. I mean, everybody has their own life. You do whatever you do. But the thing is that it's almost like he's flaunting it, and these so-called Christians that are approving of his behavior among his cronies as well. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you. Unfortunately, we're in a situation. This is an oligarchy. Let's just call it for what it is. When you look at the inauguration today, and you look at the people that were in the stands, people like Ron DeSantis, not that I feel bad for him, or Governor Greg Abbott weren't allowed in there, right? Even the people that were allowed in there that have kissed the ring, like even Vivek Ramaswamy, he wasn't allowed to bring his wife in there. But going against the rules, Jeff Bezos was allowed to bring his woman. DeSantis didn't get seats in the ceremony. They booed when Mike Pence showed up. They booed when the Clintons showed up. By the way, Bill and Hillary Clinton should not have been there. Barack Obama should not have been there. Listen, I'll give Joe Biden a pass, and I'll give Kamala Harris a pass from the prior administration. But these Democrats should not have showed up. And Donald Trump didn't give Joe Biden that courtesy. Trump and Melania didn't show up. Why give him the same? I'm sick and tired of let's be the better man. Let's be the better woman. Let's be the better human being. That's what got you in this mess. Stop being nice. And I'm getting very fed up with the Democrat Party, and too many of them, not all of them. There are some great fighters within the party, but some of them are just too nice. I've just had it. Stop playing nice. Barack Obama is a man of decency, a man of character, a good family man. But I would ask him, I know what your answer is going to be, Mr. President. I know it's history and, every living president is supposed to be there. I get that. But these are not normal times that we are living in. We can't normalize them. Mr. President, I don't think you should have been there. That's what I would say to Barack Obama. And I'm sure he'd give me a very eloquent and intelligent answer, but I would not probably agree with him. This is the man who started the birther issue with you, the racist, stereotyped birther issue. Why would you give him the respect? And I know you would say, well, I'm not respecting him, I'm respecting the country. No, there are a lot of Democrats that didn't want you there. So I just think this is a new times that we're living in today. I love the fact that Michelle Obama wasn't there. Right now, I think she's the only person that can save the Democrat Party. And I'm very worried about the future. And the Democrats need to start toughing it up, and they need to start making some changes, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's my opinion.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, hey, one day at a time. We got to call it out one day at a time, my dear. And I do appreciate you calling. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Becky. Becky is next up on PTL. Becky, what's going on?
Yes, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to tell you, Brian, I think I'm the female version of you because everything you say, I'm 100% with you. Everybody tells me go overboard and such, but I feel so fearful and so angry about what's happened to our country. I can't believe, like you, that people actually voted for this moron, for this evil. He's the most evil person I know. I've never hated anyone in my life, and I'll be honest, I hate this orange goon. I really do.
I'm with you.
He's nothing but destruction for our country, and the worst is yet to come from what I can see here, what I feel. And the only thing I disagree with you on is the Joe Biden. I mean, I love our president. He wasn't perfect, but he's a good man. Down deep inside, he is a good man.
Okay, but hold on.
But,
I've never said the opposite, right? I've
Right,
always
right,
said I've always said that Joe Biden is a good, decent man. However,
yes, he is.
He's made some very key mistakes. Number one, he should
Mhm.
not have stepped aside 3 months before the elections. That was
Right,
selfish
right.
on his part, and it cost this
Yeah.
country dearly. He should have
Yeah.
made the announcement a year before. And if you listen, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but they should have done it the normal way and allowed Democrats to decide who is going to be the front runner. And they didn't do that. That's number one. Number two,
Mhm.
I understand why he pardoned his son. I don't have a problem with
Mhm.
that pardon. I don't like pardons in general. But when you pardon Dr. Fauci, who I don't believe committed any crimes, and when you pardon people like General Milley, let them try to go after them. When you pardon them, then it gives the Republicans an excuse to say, oh, we told you so. Why would he pardon those people? These are not people that don't have money. They can get their representation. Dr. Fauci would
Right.
not have been convicted on anything. I think these types of pardons do not make Joe Biden look good, and I simply disagree with them. With that being said, Donald Trump's pardons are 100 times worse, okay? I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just trying to give criticism because I call it straight on this show. I don't like these pardons. That's all. It's not attacking Joe Biden, the man. I have a lot of respect for him. I've interviewed his wife. Dr. Jill Biden is a wonderful lady. I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for Kamala Harris and her husband. I think Kamala is a wonderful lady, but their time is up, okay? I don't want to hear Kamala talk about running again. No, you blew it. It's over. Okay, Joe Biden, spend some time with your family. Enjoy the rest of your life. You're a decent, good man. Thank you for your service, but it's over now. Okay?
Right.
And we need younger people in office. We need people with fire in the belly. We need people that are willing to, I don't want to use the term go to war, okay? But verbally, go to war with the MAGA right, okay? We need stronger people. I'm sorry, but Adam Schiff is not that guy, okay?
Exactly.
Adam Schiff is not that guy, okay? Nancy Pelosi is not the right person, okay? Let her just go away and enjoy the rest of your life with your husband, for Christ's sake, okay?
Exactly.
It's enough with these people. How long do you need to be in office? Go away. Let younger people take over the party.
Yeah, I agree. But I still think, the pardons and all, I was surprised actually when I heard it, but not 100% surprised because I know he just pardoned the good people, even the Republicans, Cheney and can't remember his name, Adam, can't remember his last name. But anyway, the Republicans that were against Trump, I think in his mind he was keeping them from going through the headache that Trump's going to put them through. And he would have put them through that. I know it because he's such an evil person.
I don't
He's
doubt
all bent
that.
on payback.
I don't doubt that, but you can't just charge somebody with a crime unless there's something there.
Yes, but they're going to try. They'll try anything.
Well, listen, they tried to. They had 8 investigations into Hillary Clinton and Benghazi. They found nothing. They've been investigating the Bidens for years now.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident that they wouldn't have found anything. And guess what? Here's my message. Here's my message. Don't break the law. If you don't break the law, you don't need a pardon, do you?
Yeah, but
Don't break
but
the law.
that's for sane people to understand. He's not sane. His cabinet members are not sane. Everybody he's picking, they don't think like you and I. They don't think normal. They are obsessed with power and evil and greed. So that's why I feel the president pardoned them. I really do.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. All I'm saying is I just don't agree with it. You know what else I don't agree? And thank you for the call, by the way. In any normal times that we would be living in, the media would call out this cryptocurrency scam put forth by Donald Trump and his contractual, despicable wife, Melania. They have put together this cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme. And if you don't believe me, you can look this up yourself. In normal times that we would be living in, people would be calling that out in the media. Why are you not hearing about it? Why? Because there's so many other Ponzi schemes to talk about. This is a scam. Donald Trump is a scam artist. The whole TikTok thing is absurd. I haven't even gotten into that. In 2020, all Donald Trump was doing was calling out TikTok and how we should ban it in the United States. And now all of a sudden, he has a conversation with them and he just wants credit for it, and he thinks that China is going to hand over 50%. Is he out of his mind? The answer is yes. And he talks about how he's going to be a peace president, right? Not going to get us into any wars. Yet, meanwhile, he's threatening military force when it comes to taking over Greenland and the Panama Canal. It's ridiculous, just like everything else in this man's life. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Charles. Charles is next. What's up, Charles?
Hey, Brian. Great to speak to you. And to answer your last question, why we aren't learning about that crypto scam, it's partially my problem with the Democrats. There's not enough intersectionality and people crossing over and talking about politics in different spaces and spheres. So, and also speaking of this whole crypto thing, I feel Dio double-crossed by Snoop Dogg with this whole thing about performing for Trump after sitting there saying that he was not going to perform, and anybody that did it was all kinds of slurs. And the reason that he actually performed for them goes back to something that you have a problem with, pardons. The reason that Snoop performed was because Michael Harris, the guy that founded Death Row Records, who was a drug-dealing criminal, was in jail. And he got pardoned by Trump, just like Kodak Black when he took the gun across the border to Canada and all that. So, and I think part of the problem on the left is lack of intersectionality. And we don't really hear about these black issues on, forums like yours as much, or Luke Beasley or David Pakman. And I see that there is a little bit more now, because I'm starting to see that even like the movie channels I'm talking about are upset about Stallone being appointed some type of ambassador.
Yeah, well, that's a made up position. By the way, he also put Mel Gibson in there, the guy who openly has used the N-word and is a known you want to talk about a Nazi sympathizer, I would put Mel Gibson right there with it. But it's a made-up position, and it means absolutely nothing. And you're right, my friend. You made a lot of good points there, and I appreciate you. It's interesting because you mentioned Luke Beasley and David Pakman. Let me, let me say this about them. I met Luke Beasley, really nice guy, very intelligent. At his age, to be up on the issues and to be able to call out MAGA, I think it's great. I think he's too nice sometimes. He's done very well for himself, and he deserves it. He's a really smart guy. I feel the same way about David Pakman. Really smart. Does a really good job in separating fact from fiction. He's fair. But I see somebody like David Pakman on Piers Morgan, and I see somebody like David Pakman on some of these panels, and he gets run over. Not because he's not smart, not because he's not winning the argument, but they just run him over with lies and misinformation. Got to stop being nice. Listen, they have their styles, and they're doing very well for themselves, and I have a lot of respect for them. The Brian Tyler Cohens, the David Pakmans, the Luke Beasleys. I mean, Luke Beasley shows up on the Tim Pool show, and he's coming with the facts because he's a very smart guy. But they're running him over. If I sat across the table from Tim Pool, I would say, how much money did you take from the Russian oligarchs? Why don't we talk about that? I'll take my hat off if you take yours off. Why don't we just be out in the open right now? What have you said that's factually true about Joe Biden? All the lies and the smears, I'll name them list by list. Let's talk about January 6th. Let's talk about his attacks on women. Let's talk about the 34 felonies. But Luke Beasley was, smart, factually accurate, got run over by Tim Pool, who I think is a moron. If you're going to start screaming at me and yelling at me, I'll do the same to you. I could play that game. If you're going to be a jerk, I can be a jerk back. Got to start doing that, man. We got to stop being nice. It's got to stop. I've had a few interviews when I was too nice. One could argue I was probably too nice to Vivek Ramaswamy. I'd never do that again. I've gotten into it with a lot of people. I challenged Caroline Leavitt, who's going to be the White House press secretary. I challenged her. I could have gone harder, but I challenged her. This goes for all of us. All of us that are anti-Donald Trump, all of us that are on the right side of history, all of us that understand the threat that Donald Trump is. We have to stop being nice. When they go low, we go high does not work anymore. So if the orange orangutan wants to wrestle with you in the sandbox, you better wrestle back. And hopefully he has his clothes on when he does it. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Lou. Lou is next up on PTL. What's up, Lou?
Hey, Brian, good show again. It's not nice to be nice anymore. I agree with you. Got to get down in the dirt with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wearing a T-shirt that says freedom is in peril, defend it with all your might. And I do not, whenever I see Trump on TV, I just change the channel. So the lying-in ceremony today, I didn't even watch it. But if he didn't put his hand on the Bible, the justice should have stopped giving the oath. That's what I'm perturbed about.
I would have told him right there to please name a passage in the Bible first before you put your hands on it. Listen, it's such a joke, okay?
Yeah, it is.
It's such a joke. I mean, this is the guy that's selling Bibles for $60. This is the guy today, correct me if I'm wrong, who's charged people hundreds of thousands of dollars to pray with him. I mean, listen, these people are sick. They'll give this guy $200,000 to pray with him for 10 minutes just for bragging rights to say that you prayed with Cheeto Jesus, yet they don't donate $1 to all the victims in the fires in California.
The tech bros prayed with them, the tech bros.
Right. I mean, these are embarrassing people. You know, Elon Musk wants to sit on his ass all day, and that weirdo, and he wants to, blame everybody from Gavin Newsom to the mayor. Okay, there's a time and a place to point fingers and say, what could we have done better? How much money has Elon Musk donated to the victims? And then you have Mike Johnson, who is the biggest two-faced prick of them all, who talks about withholding funds and withholding money to aid these victims who have lost their homes. He wants to put stipulations on this. It's interesting. When we have all these all these hurricanes in Florida, Joe Biden didn't talk about stipulations. He was there all in 100%. But yet when Republicans have an opportunity to govern, which we know they can't, they want to withhold funds. But they have no problem putting all this money and energy towards attacks on the transgender community, attacks on the gay community, attacks on the black community. These people are sick. And I'm going to call it out every day. And in a year from now, in 6 months from now, in 2 years from now, I'm going to call out all these imbeciles, because that's what they are, who voted for this guy.
Buckle up.
Yeah, put on that seatbelt, my friend. I appreciate your call. Thank you. I am trying to get through this show. And I do not have the MAGA herpes. 702-221-7283. Let's go to, who are we going to? Kathy. Kathy, what's going on, man?
Hello, Brian.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Doing all right. Hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Well, I am with you 100% on everything you have said, and kudos to you, because I woke up this morning. My sister, she didn't want to watch nothing of it. I didn't want to watch it, but then I had to watch, because I wanted to see if the man honestly was going to put his hand on the Bible, and he didn't. And I don't know why they didn't stop right there before he took the oath, because he didn't mean the oath the first time. Why would he mean the oath this time?
Can I ask you something? Would you support me? I've never owned a Bible. I've never put my hand on a Bible, and by the way, I've never claimed to care about the Bible. But maybe I will put my hand on the Bible tomorrow and call out Cheeto Jesus and pray. Can I put my hand on the Bible tomorrow? Would you support it? If I put my hand on the Bible and I prayed to Jesus, please, I hope Donald Trump burns in hell. I will gladly put my hand on the Bible, and I will do that.
I wouldn't condone you, but I'll tell you what, God knows everything, and we all have to answer to God in the end, and that's what's going to happen to these ridiculous people in this administration, because he doesn't mean anything he says. I watched, and I was appalled by who came, and Biden had to, and Jill.
Yeah.
But the others, they didn't have to come, like Pelosi and all, they stayed away.
Agree.
And they should have. You're right.
Yep.
We should be playing hardball. I love Biden. He's a great man. He served our country for over 50 years, and he did great for our country.
He did.
He's too dang nice.
He is. Well, listen, I've said it before.
And he did some bad things. Every president has done bad things.
No president. He's done a lot of, listen, let me tell you something. Joe Biden accomplished a lot as president.
Yes, he has, and people keep saying, what has he accomplished? And I said, what do you mean, what has he accomplished?
Listen, they're idiots, okay? The bipartisan infrastructure bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill was something Donald Trump was promised he would do. Bipartisan gun legislation. Bipartisan gun legislation.
And he wants to take that infrastructure away.
Well, he is. He's going to he's taking away a woman's right what to do with her own body. Joe Biden has a lot of accomplishments. There's no doubt about that. I would never take that away from him. And the MAGA Republicans and conservative echo chamber talk radio, these buffoon fools, they'll talk about how the economy is so terrible when it's not. We have a robust economy right now, and you just look at the stats. You look at the unemployment numbers. Oh, those are COVID jobs. No, they're not. These people they just lie on the radio every day. They're complete imbeciles. Let's go to Steve. Steve is next up on PTL. Hey, Steve, what's going on, man?
Hi, Brian. Hi. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
First off, that first caller, Adolf, I'm sorry you had to deal with him. He's a terrible mentally ill person, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I'd love to know his real name. I'd love to find that out. He says he lives in Las Vegas, so nice to know that. Nice to know that there's somebody in Las Vegas allegedly selling Nazi memorabilia today, celebrating. Nice to know.
And the sad thing is he has kids, and that's just terrible.
Reprehensible. Yep.
I agree that today is a dark day in history. I am not a Democrat by any means, but by the way the Republicans are lately, it may seem like I am a Democrat because you can't. But I agree with you. The Democrats are weak. But one Democrat I love that really held Pete Hegseth to the fire was Tammy Duckworth. When I thought,
listen, Tammy Duckworth did a good job. I give her an above average grade. I thought Kane did a good job. I give him an above average grade. But most, here's the thing, right? Tammy Duckworth did do a good job. But you got to look into their eye, raise your voice, and call them for what they are. And Mr. Hegseth, your own mother called you a woman abuser. Is your mother a liar? Yes or no? Mr. Hegseth, how many women have you cheated on in your life? Give me a number. Mr. Hegseth, all these people that are claiming you're drunk and an alcoholic, we have dozens of people, some actual names. Are they all lying and Pete is telling the truth? Mr. Hegseth, why couldn't you get a job during the week at Fox News? Mr. Hegseth, are all these women lying? Mr. Hegseth, if you're an open book, why did you put these women into NDAs where they can't testify? Listen, these are just things off the top of my head. These people in office had weeks and maybe even some could argue months to come up with questions. I just came up with those off the top of my head, and I can tell you right now, if you're Pete Hegseth, well, if you were, you'd probably have some drinks in your hand and you'd probably be sleeping with somebody that's not your wife, but that's another story. I'd be ready to go. These are elected officials. Yeah. It's no excuse.
Yeah, and can I say one more thing before I go?
Sure.
The people who defend Donald Trump, I'm sorry, when you have 25 women who claim sexual abuse and allegations against you, even if it's just one, that, I mean, you're guilty and you're most likely a rapist, and just have no respect for the man. Today is a terrible day in politics.
I agree. I don't disagree with you, my friend. I appreciate the call. It's a terrible day, not just for politics, terrible day for the country. And all these mega buffoons out there. Brian, what you talking about? That's my president. That's my president. I bought his Bible. And I pray for Donald Trump and his family. He's a wonderful man, and he's a patriot. Well, let's see if all these idiots will be talking the same tune in 2 or 3 years when they lose their job, they lose their Social Security, they lose their livelihood. We'll see. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hello, David.
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to comment before one of your callers, just a couple of callers ago, he mentioned Luke Beasley and David Pakman and everything. Mm-hmm. And look, I mean, I'm a conservative, so my point is like, I'm glad that the Democrats lost the election, but I also was able to see so many reasons, so many things that they did wrong as to why they lost. And I'm not saying that in terms of like my own personal bias. What I mean is like these people like David Pakman, Luke Beasley, and a lot of these Democrat TikTok commentators and have their YouTube channels, they've earned this reputation of constantly talking down to people and acting like David Pakman is known to just be this very elitist person.
Okay, hold on, David. I want to get. I promise I'll give you a chance to finish.
Yeah.
You don't like people that talk down to people. You don't like David Pakman. By the way, I don't think David Pakman talks down to people. I think he's actually very respectful. Who do you think talks down to more people, David Pakman or Donald J. Trump?
I agree that Trump talks down to people.
No, that wasn't my question. No, but hold on, that wasn't my question. Who do you think who do you think talks down to people more, Luke Beasley and David Pakman or Donald J. Trump, who, by the way, is the president of the United States?
Talks down more.
Okay, so don't you think that's more? Don't you think that's more concerning? Someone who is the leader of the free world instead of a media personality? Wouldn't that bother you more? Why did you vote for Donald Trump then?
Well, here's why. Because these Democrats, again, they constantly gave off this attitude of they're better than everybody. And here's the thing. Trump gives off that attitude too. He's a billionaire.
Which Democrat? Okay, so give me a quote or an example of a Democrat in office that made a statement that would lead you to
say Democrat in office. I'm saying Democrat commentators like that kid Harry Sisson, all these kids on TikTok.
So you care more about you care more about what a 20-year-old says on TikTok than the leader of the free world who you voted for. I don't understand what you're saying.
It's not that, no, let me explain. And I don't say this, I'm not saying this to sound rude or anything, but if you and other people who are Democrats can't figure out why this is a problem for Democrats, get ready to lose the next election because people are tired of being talked to like they're a 5-year-old.
Gotcha.
David Pakman, he constantly does this. And
so
you
David, think David Pakman, by the way, I disagree with you. I don't think David Pakman's disrespectful to people. So you think
that's why the Democrats lost, because they can't even see this right in front of their face.
So the reason why Democrats lost is because they're, quote, disrespectful to people.
One of many reasons.
But yet the leader of the free world, the guy who you voted for, has attacked POWs and Gold Star families and women on looks. He said, if you're Jewish and you didn't vote for me, you need to get your head examined. You're totally willing to put that off to the side, but yet Donald Trump won, the insulter in chief, but you're blaming David Pakman and some media personalities, and you don't think the right doesn't do this? Forget about Donald Trump, all joking aside. Let's forget about Trump. The Sean Hannitys of the world, the Laura Ingrams of the world, the Mark Levins of the world. Rush Limbaugh did it for years on the radio. And you're saying you think Democrats are attacking more and insulting people more than MAGA Republicans who have attacked the trans community, attacked the gay community. And if you care about insults, surely you would care about lies, right? You want people to tell the truth, right?
I'm not saying I care about insult. I'm not saying I care about it. What I'm saying is the Democrats have given this message that they are just these snooty college elitists who talk down to people who didn't go to college and work blue-collar jobs. Look, a lot of what you said about Trump, I agree with, but Trump was smart enough to go on all these podcasts in his campaign and just
so it's okay to insult people and lie. So it's okay to insult people and lie so long as you go on podcasts?
No, I'm not saying it's okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is Democrats couldn't figure out how to sell a message. And by the way, they had a million different
And what's
ways
Donald
to
Trump's?
defeat
So
Trump, but
I agree. So Donald Trump's message in 2016 was we're going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton, and we're going to build a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. So as long as it's a message, even if it's a lie, just like the lies of today, let's talk about the message. Donald Trump said the 2020 election was rigged today, and he said his opponents cheated. No, hold on. I want to give you some yes or no. Is that true, or did Donald Trump lie today when he said the 2000 election was rigged?
I'm sorry, 2000 or 2020?
2000, I'm sorry. I apologize. 2020 election. He said that today. Do you have a problem with him saying that today?
Yeah, I think that's a lie that he's always going to peddle, and I completely disagree with it.
Okay, so David Pack, hold on. So David, thank you for your honesty. So David Pakman, you might not like the fact that sometimes he insults people, which I tend to disagree with you on. I insult people, and I don't apologize for it. But Donald Trump said today that jails all over. Go ahead.
To your credit, you at least talk to them on the one-to-one human level, which I can respect. And again,
Pakman does that.
You and I would fund.
David.
No, he doesn't. See, this is my point. Is guys like him. If the Democrats look, I'm not putting it all on this David Pakman guy. He's not the head of the party. What I'm saying is the energy that the Democrats have given of this elitist attitude of they're better. Remember what Kamala Harris
hold on a
said
second,
when Christians were at the rally.
David, I have to stop you here. You don't like this elitist attitude. Look at the people that were within a few feet of Donald Trump today. You have a problem with this elitist. Excuse me. You had Elon Musk. You had Jeff Bezos. You had Mark Zuckerberg a few feet away from Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Republican governors who are wearing the Donald Trump knee pads weren't even allowed in this room. They were in overflow. They didn't get seats in the ceremony. That would never happen under Democrat leadership. It's ridiculous. They would never say, hey, George Soros, we want you here. And guess what? Gavin Newsom, you got to be in overflow. So if you care about elitists, which I agree with you, we shouldn't have elitists in D.C., then wouldn't you have a problem with all the elitists that seem to be having a large say in Donald Trump's ears, like Elon Musk?
Yeah, look, I don't like Elon Musk, and I don't buy anything that Mark Zuckerberg says for a second. I mean, he just switched parties in the span of a day. I just think he's a lying opportunist, and I think Elon's a lying opportunist too. And for what it's worth, I wouldn't be surprised if Elon and Trump end up having some type of falling out, because they're both egomaniacs.
I agree. But David, they had front row seats. The tech billionaires had front row seats. If you really care about elitism, as you claim you do.
Well, here's my point, if I could make this point. There are all these Democrats on apps like TikTok where they just talk to regular people and debate them, and they talk to these people and talk down to them like they're 5 years old. The Democrats lost the last election.
Which elected official?
If they want to lose.
Which elected official?
I'm not saying officials. I'm saying Democrat. People with millions of hits on YouTube and TikTok.
And you don't think that doesn't happen more on the right with the Laura Loomers of the world and the Charlie Kirks of the world? There are far more people on the right that
Charlie Kirk doesn't talk down to people like they're 5 years old. He has conversations with them.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
He literally doesn't. He's on college campuses and
really
talking to college
so
kids.
Saying I don't want black people being my pilot in airplanes and blaming the fires in California on DEI hires, the Laura Loomers of the world, the conspiracy theorists, the Dinesh D'Souza's of the world who lie. Come on, dude. Listen, I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the left, but you cannot tell me with a straight face that it's not happening more with people on the right on social media. Now, I don't care, okay? There are people on social media that are dangerous. There are people on social media that spew conspiracy theories and lies and bigotry. I think it's happening far more on the right than the left. I'll disagree with you on that. But what I care about are people with the big platforms and people that are elected officials. Donald Trump today spread nothing but lies and bigotry. And I'm surprised because, you're a conservative. Okay, I get it. But he lied about Nancy Pelosi. He lied about January 6th. He lied about the wall. He lied about the January 6th committee. He lied about immigration. He lied about the 2020 election. This is on Inauguration Day. Doesn't that bother you more than what David Pac-Man says?
Yes, it does bother me. I'm not trying to
Does
say
it bother
that
you more?
Trump is this.
Does it bother you more than what David Pac-Man says on a podcast?
Yeah, it does bother me more. But my point is Democrats should be bothered with the way that they acted all of 20. I mean, all right, here's actually a perfect example of why Democrats lost so badly. Because they thought that Americans were stupid enough to literally watch our president mentally collapse for years and then tell them, oh, by the way, he's sharper than he's ever been. He's doing laps around people at the White House. And then surprise, surprise, that party loses. You're basically telling people that I won't say anything inappropriate, but you're urinating on them and then telling them it's raining. Nobody bought this. And then they lose.
So,
what the hell do they think is going to happen?
Listen.
I'm not saying that, yeah.
I am not a doctor. Joe Biden is not the same person he was. I have criticized Joe Biden for not stepping aside earlier. But I also criticize people who voted for Donald Trump. Now, if you want to look at it as talking down to people, this is a man who has elitists all around him. This is a man who is trying to make a deal with China with TikTok. This is a man who wants to take over Greenland and has threatened military action. This is not a serious person who has been bought by Elon Musk. We are in danger. We can criticize Joe Biden. I've criticized him today. But I'm
not even criticizing him. I'm criticizing all the people who just completely ignored the very obvious problem going on.
What about the people that ignore the problem that is Donald Trump lying about the 2020 election, for example? What about the people that ignore the threat that Donald Trump poses to our democracy and the fact that he can be bought? He has already been bought by Elon Musk.
I don't think people ignore it. I just don't think they really believe it's a threat to democracy because they already saw him in office for 4 years and democracy still exists. And after 4 years from now,
how is democracy? How is democracy looking on January 6th? On one of the most embarrassing days of our country.
Yeah, but it wasn't like democracy was this thing like a physical thing in a chest that you grab and you're like, well, I have democracy now. They were never going to do anything. It was a terrible, pathetic.
Well, I disagree with you, David.
Republicans...
I disagree with you, David. We had something called fake electorate schemes throughout the country. So when you say, quote, they were never going to do anything, there were people that showed up with guns on January 6th. People died that day, and they did do something. And now the guy who you voted for wants to pardon those who committed violent acts on January 6th. I think that is more of a threat than anything that David Pacman or Luke Beasley say, and I also disagree with you. They do treat people with respect, so I disagree. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow on the show, Malik Abdul is going to be joining us. Now, Malik, ladies and gentlemen, Malik is a CNN contributor, African-American, Republican, staunch Donald Trump supporter. So Malik's going to be joining us tomorrow. You are not going to want to miss this debate. Jasmine Crockett's going to be joining us on the show Wednesday. That has been confirmed. Please check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, so I could, I can afford to buy, cold medication, right? But in all seriousness, I'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to get some rest. Check out the website, though, in all seriousness, pushingthelimits.live. I'm not selling Trump Bibles on there, but what I am doing is we are selling shirts, and no MAGA gear, but PTL gear. And you could also make a donation. Help us out, pushingthelimits.live. I appreciate all of you very much. The YouTube chat has been on fire today. So thank you all for joining us. We are going to post some of those phone calls as we always do on the show today. There were some good ones. There were some bad ones. David, I do appreciate your call, and you're always welcome to call back, David. I always like a good conversation. David's going to always be respectful to me. Then I am always going to be respectful to him. So I appreciate his phone call. And all of you for tuning in and calling in as a show that is becoming more and more popular by the day. I think we're like a couple hundred followers short of 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. We just passed 10 million views on YouTube, and that is thanks to you. I appreciate you guys very much. We're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. We're just going to continue to call out this nonsense every day on the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on the show. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino.